Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Wendi Cooper, and it's time to sit back, let go, and start living unfiltered. Applause. So that's a new one, huh, Kurt?
Yep, I thought I'd get a new one for you.
I like it. It's like a stadium full of people.
Yeah, well, a lot of people showed up today.
So welcome, everybody. This is Living Unfiltered with me, your host, Wendi Cooper. This is a place that we talk about just about anything I really want to talk about, and that's why I kind of call it Living Unfiltered. This is my 60-year-old. When I turned 60, I decided I'm changing my radio show, and I'm just going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. Right, Kurt?
Exactly.
Okay, so Kurt, I haven't seen you for a long time.
I know, it's been a while. How have you been?
I haven't seen you since you got married and ran off.
With
With that woman. With the other woman.
Exactly. The other, Pisces, right?
Yeah, the other Pisces.
Yeah, exactly.
Oy vey. I'm telling you. So it's been a while. Tony's done my past few shows.
Yes,
and so I've missed you. I've desperately missed you, Mr. Kurt.
Well, I'm back today.
Everything's good. Weather sucks outside. Traffic sucks outside. As everybody might know, we are in the Sunset Gower Studios here in Hollywood. So we're right off of Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset, or Hollywood and whatever on Sunset. And I have to come all the way from the beach every week. And so it's this whole drama for me that I leave really early, and then I do that whole SNL California thing where, okay, what route am I going to take? Am I going to take the 405 to the 105 to the 105? Does it pull it in to get off here? Right? So I do that in my mind as I'm getting in the car, and I inevitably tonight chose the wrong route because I sat by downtown LA for a good 25 minutes, moving an inch. So anyway, but I'm here, and I am excited because tonight, I'm not going to do this with a pen. I'm going to put it down right now. Tonight I have somebody really special on, and I don't personally know Saul, and but what I do know of Saul and what I have listened to for the past few years on a show called The Being Cast that I listen to, and one of the reasons that I do this, I got into radio. And I always admire Saul so much for his humor, how he loves to be a little bit interruptive, and his marketing genius. So he is, I'm taking this right from Saul's 15-page LinkedIn profile that I printed out. And so it's right here. It's actually here. So Saul, welcome to the show. You are the best word-of-mouth marketer and customer experience designer in North America. That's a good one. Welcome, Saul.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on the show.
I don't really think that you need that much of an introduction because from what, you are just, hey, Kurt, can you put a one shot on me really quick? And just so that I can show everybody that I go, oh, here, let me quickly print out Saul's little bio from LinkedIn. And I hit print PDF, and look at this. This is your LinkedIn printed, Saul. You can't see it. That's right. I'm sorry, but
I am actually watching the feed, but I'm about 3 minutes behind. I just saw you click your pen.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, I have to remember that. But anyway, pretty soon you're going to see me flipping through your LinkedIn profile, and it's really funny because this is the thing that gets me about you, Saul, and your sense of humor, is the very last thing on this list that you filled this in. I'm sure, skills and expertise. Okay. Now on Saul's LinkedIn, his skills and expertise are online marketing, social media, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, marketing, startups, strategy, public relations, marketing strategy, public speaking, digital strategy, word of mouth marketing, CRM, leadership, online advertising, blogging, and I can go on and on and on until I finally get to the end. And the last one is, Saul, do you know?
Lovemaking?
There you go. It's lovemaking. Yes. So, Saul, thank you for being here. And can you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself for those listening that don't know so much about Saul Colt?
Sure. So, like you mentioned, I am, I consider myself and others agree with me. I am the best word of mouth marketer in North America. The things that, one of the things that was said about me recently, and I've sort of co-opted it for myself, is that I have the ability to get a large number of people to look in one direction all at the same time. And while a lot of people can do that, I also have the creative ability of allowing them to see something really cool. So I bring the sizzle and the substance, where a lot of people sort of just bring the sizzle, and then there's sometimes they're disappointed. I can get a lot of people to look at in one direction and be super satisfied with what they saw, and then run to every social media network and talk about it because they had this really awesome experience that they are almost forced to share with people because they saw something really cool that they've never seen before.
Right. So you put the cool in kind of in marketing. It's not just marketing. There's I don't know what you call it on, because I listened to an enormous amount of your 0 hour podcast today, and and of course I've listened to you for years on the Beancast. But you put something into marketing, and I'm sorry that I can't remember your exact words, but do you remember your exact words?
I put something into marketing. I think I put a lot of honesty and truth into it,
right? Well,
which is a little unusual for people, and so that actually resonates with people. But if there's like one specific thing that I maybe said in the past, I can't remember because
know what it is. You give a brand personality, right?
Yes.
It's a brand. Brands. I was just listening to this also. Is that a brand? Not all brands have personality, and people think that just because you have a pretty font and you have things like that, that your brand has a meaning, or your brand has a mission, or your brand has a culture. You have what? No, you just got a pretty font, honey, right?
Yeah, a lot of people confuse visual identity for brand. They think logo is a brand. They think a lot of things are brands. A beautiful website is our brand, but in actual fact, your brand is what somebody would say about your company. So there's the old adage, your brand isn't what you say it is, it's what people say it is. It's been co-opted in the last decade to be, your brand isn't what you say it is, it's what Google says it is. But in actual fact, your brand is whatever sort of resonates with people and how they feel in their heart about your company. So that is your brand. You can control your visual identity. You can control the look and feel and the colors and the warmth and the softness of this and that in your messaging, but you can't really control your brand because you don't own your brand. Your customers own your brand.
So what do you say to people that come to you as a marketing consultant and they have a boring brand? Okay. And they're just kind of, I'll be honest, because I'm a marketing consultant. They maybe have something. Let's say it's a consumer product, and it has a lot of value, but the way that they've positioned it, the way they think of it, the way they're looking at it as their mom and pop or their entrepreneurial company, or they maybe are a startup, and they're kind of looking at it all wrong. What do you do when that situation happens, and they come in and they sit down and they go, look what we have. It's so big. It's so beautiful. And I love it so much. And don't you change it. But we want to work with you.
Okay, so I'm going to answer the question, and people are going to be super impressed. But before I do, I am just going to say one quick thing. As a marketing consultant, someone who works with a lot of different brands, I also work full time for a company called Xero.
Yes.
It's spelled Xero, and we'll get to Xero, and I'll keep name dropping and things. So please understand, I'm coming from sort of the mindset of a consultant, but I also am,
Right.
Working currently. But what do I tell people is, first thing you have to figure out is, what is the personality of the employees? What is the personality of the CEO? What is the personality of the brand? Because you can, or what is the personality of the company, not the brand? Because you're going to build the brand around what the personality of the company is. If like the brands I love to build are really fun and playful, and like I've worked for companies, either as a consultant or full time, where I've just built the brand around my own personality, and sometimes that's the lazy way of doing things, but I would never do that if it didn't fit. you have to really understand what is the level of risk a company is willing to take. What is the level of risk a CEO is willing to take? Because you don't want to make this crazy outlandish brand, someone similar to like a, an old school American Apparel before all the changes, or somebody like a, I can't think of another example. You don't want to go out there and make this like really, super interesting, super aggressive, super risk-taking brand if nobody in the company really buys into it and believes it. So the very first thing is figure out, what is the personality of the business and build a brand around that. So some companies can be boring. It's okay to be boring as long as it's a true boring. You don't want to make something that you're never not proud of. And that's, I think, sometimes people get caught up because they bring in consultants. The consultants just goes cookie cutter on them
Yeah.
and says, you got to
Yeah.
do this, and this. I never, make any suggestions until I've interviewed a bunch of employees
Yes.
and I've interviewed a
That's
bunch of
right.
customers.
Yeah.
Because anything cookie cutter, you're getting what you pay for.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And there were certain instances that I was listening to. Who was I listening to on the way over here? Well, I was listening to your podcast, but I listened to so many today. One of my favorites, by the way, and we're going to dedicate the last half hour of the show to Zero, because I was telling you that not only was the podcast that you did with the CEO of Zero wonderful, just really wonderful.
Roger, he's a real like fascinating visionary guy. He's one of my top 5 favorite people in the world.
Yeah, and that was my top podcast. I will listen to it again and again, because that's usually what I do with podcasts, right? I listen to them over and over and over again. But oh God, now I lost my train of thought. Saul, you're never at loss for words.
I'll tell Bill Cosby jokes if we ever
No, we
get
don't.
a lull.
We don't need to tell Bill Cosby jokes. But look, I was of that era where he was doing that to lots of people that I know. So it's good for him. He finally got caught. But okay, so we're not going to talk about. I want to ask you, because there's 2 things that you've said recently in the past. I don't know, a couple of times you've been on the Beancast, and here's a couple of things that I so agree with you with. One is that Shark Tank is pure product placement. I would love to get your take on Shark Tank. I have an enormous take that's probably very similar to yours, because I have a story there also. So let's start with that. So when you say, and you said it recently, that Shark Tank is product placement, and somebody on the Beancast of yesterday, I was listening to it also all the way here, she said, with Tamsin, I think, she said that people have this thing where they're going to get on Shark Tank and I'm going to make $1 billion and it's going to change the world and I'm going to win and I'm going to win. And that's how they go on to Shark Tank. Well, I got news for everybody. If anybody goes on Shark Tank and gets on television with your product on Shark Tank, it doesn't matter if you make a deal. You're a winner anyway.
Yeah, so Shark Tank's actually my dad's favorite show, and,
Yeah.
and I was hanging out with him earlier today, and he was telling me about the last couple episodes. I don't even have to watch the show anymore. My dad gives me like minute by minute updates of every episode. I think if you can get on Shark Tank, you absolutely should. It's brilliant. It's cocaine for your company. I'd love to know 3 years later if any of these companies still have that, that the momentum that they get from the show. But it's like they're on, the
Network television.
They're on the most popular show of the day, and it's really fascinating because people who are not in business watch that show. People who aren't interested in venture capital watch that show. And I'm just making up a stat here. If you listen to the Beancast, I make up stats all the time. But I'm going to go on make a bold statement and say I'd say 30 to 50% of everybody watching this show watches with their credit card in hand, and they just want to support these people and they love it and they're exposed to things they haven't seen before. So anytime you can get a 7-minute commercial on ABC, I say take it.
No kidding. No kidding. And that's the true value, really.
I would actually turn down any deal from these people because you don't need it. When they do the updates, they say, hey, this person turned down the deal, but their business still increased by
Right.
200%. Well,
Right.
it's because they were on TV, and they were on
Right.
TV at the right time when people are ready to spend, people are want to support, Main Street and all these things. Like it's really the perfect storm. If you can do it, like you should move mountains to get on Shark Tank. But that shouldn't be your marketing plan. That should be like whale hunting. If your whole marketing plan is Shark Tank, then you don't have a business. But if you want to spend 10% of your month trying to, fill out the application, go to the audition process or something, absolutely, just don't make it your whole business.
Well, also from the other side of that is, it's not. I try to explain to people that being on Shark Tank isn't like doing a television commercial. It's not the same thing as going out and, even buying a commercial within, Shark Tank. Having 7 minutes, basically, because they get like 7.5 minutes, I think, is the total that they're really on air. That is completely focused on you in a national television network #1 show, right? Where they're really talking about it. And it's kind of like the coming together of the American dream, right? The entrepreneur, the mom and the pop, or the American dream meets, the big bad guy with all the money. And then, we see what happens. But I know from my personal experiences, there's one that a client that I worked with was Squatty Potty went on Shark Tank. And I have a company called Easy Go Pro, which is my toilet stool, and everybody knows it that watches the show. And I was their consultant, and I came up with this genius marketing campaign for them. And then they made a bunch of money, and they told me, I had to they didn't want to work with me anymore because they didn't want to pay me a bunch of money. So
you're a better person than me. I would spend the rest of my days trying to bring them down.
Well, I made a better product. I made a better solution. We settled, and then I went off knowing that I could make a better solution because I am in the consumer, the direct to the consumer business, and I understand what the consumer wants. And, hey, do people want to squat over a toilet with a big, ugly, a not so good looking thing called the Squatty Potty? No, not really. But yes, they do want to poop. Anytime you can work in the poop category, work in it, because everybody wants to take a good poop. Everybody in the world, everybody. But what that did for my business, what their appearance did for my business was remarkable. And what their appearance did just for this category, this new category that people were naysaying, yet we knew was very viable if you're on the other side of it, right? It was pretty remarkable because everybody and their brother now wants to squat on the toilet, seriously, and elevate their feet. It's a huge category was grown out of this for everyone.
Exactly. And the other thing that, one of the dirty little secrets of Shark Tank, or thing that people just don't talk about all the time, is they can rip you like with horrible insults and all those things people don't remember. So wait a month. It's out of sight, out of mind. You slap a giant banner on your website that says "as seen on Shark Tank." Maybe don't post the video, and all of a sudden you're credible and your thing. And if they do, treat you really badly on the show, chances are people are going to sympathize with you and still support your product. So there's no such thing as a bad appearance on Shark Tank.
There's not. It says everybody's a winner. That's very, very true. But the other side of that also is that most of the deals don't go through anyway.
It's like less than a quarter because half the time they all die in due diligence, or they only agree to the deals to make good television.
That's right.
And stuff like that. So, but you're still on TV. So I would actually tell people, and I worked with a company. I wrote the pitch for someone on the show. They didn't make it to the air, but they got really, really far. It was taped. It just wasn't, just didn't make it in the season. And I told them flat out, just turn down any deal. You're here for TV. And they loved the pitch. They got the thing. They just didn't make it to air because for whatever reasons and stuff like that. But yeah, it's great. Just like I said, don't make it your marketing plan.
No, because it's going to see how longevity plays out. Absolutely. Because you really do have to know how to have the big picture plan for a product as opposed to.
I think Shark Tank gives you maybe the strongest 12 months you could ever ask for in a company. And then after that, it all dies down. If you can, at the very least, you're going to have the greatest Christmas season of your life.
Well, that's what happened to us. We had we just launched in September, and by January we were like, woohoo, but then February hit and it's like reality sits in,
and then you were poo-poo.
And then it was poo-poo and all over the place.
See what I did there? I made a joke.
I did. It was really good. It was good. And not like I'm not used to poop jokes, but anyway.
They'll get better.
They'll get better. Hey, Saul, the other thing that I really wanted to talk to you about, because I really enjoy your opinion also about Amazon. And it being how, I think you said the other day, I was listening to one of the shows, and you had said that if you have a consumer good, or you're a small business, or you have a consumer good, and you're not on Amazon, you're crazy.
Yeah, I think that, and again, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Amazon is the third most
Yes.
viable search engine
Yes.
after YouTube and after Google. And, I've even read stats that says that like 50 to 60% of all searches for consumer goods start on
On
Amazon now.
Amazon.
So,
Yeah.
like, even if they don't stock your
That's right.
product, even if you're just doing it as a drop ship or everything, you should be on Amazon because, the two places that I go to for just about everything, I go to eBay first because a lot of the stuff I buy is, like, sneakers and things like that, are rare and things. So I always just look for eBay, but I check out Amazon, I check out Google and stuff like that. Like you have to be there. You can't ignore it. It's kind of like the conversation people were having a decade ago where you had to have a website and then it transferred to you have to be on Twitter and you have to be this. You kind of have to be on Amazon right now. Like they own retail and like, it hurts my heart because I love Main Street USA and, everything I do in my career is to support small businesses. But, the fact is small businesses should be leveraging Amazon.
That's right.
Instead of sitting around and saying, woe is me.
Well, here's what I found has happened because 90% of our sales do happen on Amazon, and I have a one SKU item. Basically, I got a bunch of different colors now because I had to up the amount of SKUs I have, but in being in direct response marketing and helping people run their campaigns and bring their products to market for many, many years now, I remember back the day where you had to have your website was really super important. I also remember the days when I was shipping 12 VHSs to Amazon for a client too in 1999, right? And they couldn't handle the 12 videos coming in because, then they'd give me a purchase order for 12 more 2 days later. So their fulfillment was a bit iffy. But
isn't that crazy that they would even waste their time with 12? Like,
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it used to be really frustrating, but that was back in 1999, so I got over it. But as far as for small businesses, it's kind of like the way I see Amazon is that if getting into retail, typically if you have a consumer good, is very, very extremely difficult, right? There's a lot of different things that need to happen for
And
you
it's
to
super
take
risky.
that space.
Like you could, how many companies have gone out of business because they took a truckload consignment offer from a big retailer and they got it all shipped back right after Christmas. Like
That's right.
yeah.
There's all of those risks. Now, Amazon. I spoke at the Houseware Show about Amazon and how if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a small business person with a consumer product, if you have a new product, whatever it might be, what a great testing ground is Amazon also, right? Proof of concept testing ground, The thing, though, is that Amazon now, and I agree with you, most searches do, Saul, go to Amazon for a product. Like they'll search what color is Saul Colt's eyes on Google, but they'll go to Amazon to look for the Saul Colt, little doll that they want to buy after this show. Okay.
Which I have one, in case anyone's curious. It's a one of one, so you won't find it on Amazon, but it does exist.
So, but Amazon being the largest retailer is why wouldn't you? It's just like walking into the biggest store in the world, and why wouldn't you want to be sitting right there next to your competition or the big brand?
Yeah, because
you're really on the same shelf.
People dream of getting to Walmart or Target or whichever brand big box store that suits them the best, and getting into those stores, like you have to jump through serious hoops. With Amazon, you just have to set up an account and upload some pictures and write some copy. You could do it in less than an afternoon, but people are it's not part of their business plan, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Like one of the greatest opportunities is sitting right in front of you. The barrier to entry is super low, and they've got a gajillion people who check the site every day. So why anyone would ignore an opportunity like that is ridiculous. I would suggest, if you're a consumer goods, spend way more time, cultivating your Amazon offering than playing around on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm finding out also, because Amazon does take time, but when you learn it and you know how to work it, and you take the time to do the sponsor words and to do the different things, you can really build your business because no one is shopping on a product website anymore. People don't go to EasyGoPro.com. What I did was for EasyGoPro, I put the Amazon logo and click through on it so that people could just go to my site if they end up there, but click right through to Amazon for the purchase.
And the thing with Amazon too that a lot of people don't talk about is they are some of the smartest people in the
Yes.
world when it comes to, getting you into that black hole
Yep.
of online selling. So you may actually be searching a book on digestive health, and all of a sudden it'll say, well, maybe you should buy, this pooping product at the same time. So you may have never gone to Amazon looking specifically for what you have to offer, and you may end up with like three of
Yes.
them in your shopping cart because they know that, if you're interested in this, you're going to be interested in that. And their referral engine is just so strong and crazy that people will find you completely accidentally. Never mind, going specifically for whatever your offering is. They may be buying a music CD or a digital download that one of the songs just happened to have a keyword that's similar to yours, and all of a sudden your product will be offered. So if you do it really well, like, you're going to get a lot of accidental business, which is, who doesn't love that?
Yeah, that's what's key about it, right? Is it's kind of
Hmm.
like when you walk into a Target store and you have a basket, you're going to go up and down the aisles,
Hmm.
right? With Amazon, they bring the aisles kind of to you, right? They go,
Hmm.
people who bought this, or people who are interested in that, bought that, right? And they're
Uh,
feeding it to you.
I'll even make it more granular than that. The last 6 feet when you're in line at the thing and they've got all the impulse buying, Amazon
Yeah,
is one big impulse buy.
that's right.
You're already at the checkout and they've got the razors and they've got the gum and they've got, the as seen on TV stuff. And you're like, oh, I would never pick this stuff up when I'm doing the aisles. But, you're waiting in line, you're looking at the gossip magazines, you're looking at all this stuff. There's a reason the gossip magazines are right at the cash because you're bored, you're waiting, there's a couple of people in front of you, you're going to make an impulse buy, your defenses are down. That's how Amazon kind of works, and God love them, they've figured out the secret to this stuff.
Well, they figured out the secret to that free shipping. I mean, you can't, a
Hmm.
product centric website cannot compete with Amazon because of their Prime and their free shipping. I mean, I
Yeah.
go on Facebook, I do Facebook ads now. I'm really getting good at these Facebook ads for my product and
Hmm.
even for my radio show. And, and they work. I'm going to tell you, they work
Hmm.
for EasyGo Pro. They really work. And I'm a person of data for 20 years and watching, performance metrics and all of that. And so when I start seeing that these simple, silly, and you can test them for $5, $20, and
Hmm.
see what creative kind of gets people's juices clicking. And, babies, puppies, and kitties. Okay, so I did a funny baby one, of a little kid sitting on a toilet, but with a newspaper with these big glasses looking through. And, and all he says is, oh my God, we got to get one of these things, right? And it got more clicks to the website, and my sales on Amazon, it went right to Amazon,
Hmm.
right?
Well, that is the wonderful thing about social media is instantly whether you're right or wrong because people vote with their time. They vote with a retweet. They vote with a comment. They vote. When I say vote, I really mean feedback. They're
Yeah,
giving you like an instant feedback loop, but right away whether something's working because you can see all the analytics. Basically if you've moved somebody. And I mean moved as in like moved
engaged.
emotions, not
Yeah,
moved as in moved bowels, but you've moved someone to actually do something, and you'll see it right away. There's no mystery. They either buy something, comment, or like. And if they haven't done one of those three things, just swap out the copy or
that's right.
swap out the creative and try something new.
That's right. You just turn it off. I mean, I love it. It's
Mm,
genius. I was like, do I have better things to do with my time? Well, probably,
mhm,
maybe not right now, but I'm really learning and really maximizing. I hired digital agency, right? I
mhm,
hired this, I hired that, and then I said, go away. None of you are doing, you want to go spend a bunch of money. Well, give us
mhm,
$30,000 and we'll get your digital campaign going. It's like, are you kidding me? Well, that's what it's going to take, Wendy. It's going to take $30,000 this month, and then for about the next 3 months, $30,000. I said, you're
mhm.
talking to somebody that's from DR, man. We don't spend that kind of money, right? We
Yeah.
wait to see what happens, and we love that engagement. We love going. I personally love you because you go outside of the box and you think really creatively and fun and engaging where other people really want to stay safe. They still want to stay safe.
I think there's staying safe is a waste of money. It's if you're not moving people to, create an action or an emotion or a share or something, what are you bothering with?
Right.
Like nobody is competitor free. Nobody is like got an easy road to success. Like, this is your future. This is your life. This is your company. Aren't you? You're risking your whole future to start your own business. Why wouldn't you risk, with your marketing and do clever things that people are going to really respond to? You can burn. It costs the exact same amount of money to run boring ads as it does to run interesting ads. So why wouldn't you run interesting ads that people may respond to? I've said this a million times. I've probably said it on the Beancast and stuff like that. And the way my brain works, as soon as Bob turns off the recorder on the Beancast, I forget everything I've said, and people quote me the next day. I'm like, wow, I really sound pretty smart. But one of the things that I've probably said all the time on the Beancast is, if you know your customers, you know where the line of good taste is, and you have to cross that line by like 2 baby steps, because it's those 2 baby steps where the memories are going to be made, where the connection is going to be made. And if you're not making connection, you're just throwing money out the window.
Right. And I totally, I've always been a little bit of the bad girl of DR or whatever, and it's like, I'm the one that took the 800 number out of the commercials in 2005 and said, just drive it to the web. And they said, what are you, crazy? You're just a crazy little bitch, right?
So you're crazy, girl.
What would you do that for? And so anyway, we're going to take a quick break. And we will be back in about 3 minutes, and we'll talk about Xero some more. Okay? Be right back.
Cool.
In an average lifetime, 1,500,000 minutes are spent on the toilet. So what's the problem?
When you sit on a toilet, you're at a 90-degree angle.
Nature didn't want us to do it that way.
This causes pushing, straining, hemorrhoids.
That's crazy.
We want to create a product that is great for humanity.
Well, go time just got easier. Introducing Easy Go Pro, the only way to go.
Anatomically, we were designed to eliminate at a 35-degree angle.
You just sit, lift, and go in a natural position.
The benefits list is this long from a pure health perspective.
A healthy colon is encouraged by doctors for all ages.
It's the key to vitality. It's the key to longevity. It's the key to your health.
Be a healthy goer. Order now at EasyGoPro.com. Try it for 70 days. If you don't absolutely feel better, just send it back for a full product refund. Go time just got healthier at EasyGoPro.com.
Hey folks, we're sponsored today by Xero. That's Xero, Xero, the online accounting software and platform for your small business. It doesn't matter if your business is out there in the world or exclusively online. Xero is the best way for you to manage your accounting anywhere, anytime, on your computer or mobile device. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at Xero.com/podcasts. That's Xero, Xero.com/podcasts. And Xero randomly selects 5 people a month who have signed up to receive a mystery box of goodies. Xero, beautiful accounting software.
Hey, we're back, and we're back with Saul Colt. He is, what's your title with Xero? Because you have this very unique title with Xero.
So I am the chief evangelist at Xero. So my job is to scream from the rooftops and make sure as many people in the world know that Xero exists, what we do, and why we're the best in the world.
Sorry, I'm laughing. I just love the way you always are. No bars held out, right? It's like, we are the best. I am the smartest. I'm just going to start with that. Every show I'm going to start with, I am the smartest. I am the best looking.
But you should, like, if it's true, you should always, lead with honesty. People respond to honesty.
So we're going to talk about Xero, and Xero is, and I see here, this is what I love also, is Xero is a beautiful accounting software that provides accountants, bookkeepers, and small businesses with real-time access to their business accounting information, anytime, any place. So, and your job is to make Xero the #1 choice for online accounting in North America. And from what I understand, because I listened to the interview on the Xero Hour, which is your podcast, that Xero is pretty darn successful at doing that, or you're really kind of rocking it with Xero, huh?
Yeah, so Xero, it's been around for almost 10 years. It was founded in New Zealand. It started by our co-founder and CEO Roger Uri, and in New Zealand, Australia, UK, it's one of the leaders in the industry in the United States, where, we obviously compete with Intuit and QuickBooks, but we're very, from a product standpoint, I believe we have a better product. And, as long as I do my job and the other people in the US do our jobs, it's not going to be much longer that everybody realizes that our product is better. And we'll be the leader in the United States as well.
So can I ask you, because I, in running a small business, so here I have, I am not the smartest, person on the block. Well, I'm smart. Okay, wait a minute. I am the smartest person on the block, but there are other people that are maybe a little bit smarter than me when it comes to like bookkeeping and things like that, right? So in the interview that that's on the podcast with Rob, is it Rob or Rob?
Rod, R-O-D.
Rod. Okay. That's the second Rod today that I met. And it's kind of, I always want to say Rod Drury, right? It was so fascinating because the birth of it, the genesis of it is fascinating to listen to. And he's so pleasant to actually listen to speak also. That's always enjoyable when you're listening to a show. But I was so relating. I'm so relating because here I am. I'm like, this person that became an entrepreneur just because I fell into the infomercial business in 1993, 1994. Don't ask me how I fell into it, but I never fell out of it. I started developing products. I had successful this, that, the other thing, became a consultant, did this, went on. But I'm a high school graduate, actually. Okay, I took a couple of college classes. You pay for them at night. But I've been successful as an entrepreneur for 20 years with my C-Spot Run business. And I don't know, and a successful marketing consultant without ever I never even took 101, marketing 101, Saul. I mean, I think I just came out of the womb this way, right?
So I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but I actually think the best marketers are people who are self-taught and not classically trained. I grew up in a family business. I have taken marketing courses. I do have a marketing education, but everything that I'm doing now and everything that I'm known for is really self-taught through trial and error. And I think, most of marketing is really just understanding people and, giving them something that they want or understanding what they want and explaining to them in the way they want it to be explained. So, you can learn the tools, you can learn the stuff like that. But if you don't have that human part of marketing, you're probably not going to be super successful long term.
So where Zero comes in is when I just hired a few months ago a bookkeeper who is actually the wife of my accountant, because I have to deal with inventory, right? I have to deal with it as a small business. I have inventory, and I sell on Amazon. I sell to catalogs. We're trying to get into some retail stores, right? I'm the one person that has the supply chain that's out there, right? You have all your supply chain, but you're this one person that gets up in the morning and you're running the business, really. That's on that business part. But so for me now, for the past 2 weeks, I've been going, okay, I just need, and I don't know if Zero does this or not, so I'm building this into something. I hope we do. I hope so too. I need to understand if I do this, which I'm doing a feature ad in USA Today where I negotiated where they'll feature us as a product in the editorial if we run the front page print ad banner, okay? But I negotiated editorial to go along with that because we have a story behind our product, and and then I also have this, Amazon came and said, well, why don't we schedule you for some advertising in the month of September, October, or whatever. And I know how sales build at that time. It would be a smart thing for me to plan, get into that mix now. What I don't know is what are my inventory needs going to really be? Those investments as a small business, right now I have to start weighing, okay, I have 30 days to pay my inventory, but how much inventory am I really going to need? I know I don't have to pay for these ads until 30 days after they actually run. So I believe I'm going to be creating revenue, but then what if I don't? Because I've seen that happen a million times, where you don't create the revenue you think you're going to. So is Zero a platform that would, or an application that would help me as this one person be able to figure all of that out if I integrated everything that I have for bookkeeping into Xero?
Yes. So, in one of the amazing things about Xero, so we are a platform, exactly what you said, and a lot of people, sort of shy away from that sort of description. But the reason I call us a small business platform is, we do certain things extremely well. We do payroll, we do inventory, we do invoicing. Obviously, we do accounting. All those things that are extremely well. But we also have over 400 other companies that view us as an amazing opportunity for them to build their product into ours. So anything you could imagine from, if you don't like our inventory, there's other inventory to choose from. If you do point of purchase, you want to go and do a pop-up shop for your things and, break away from Amazon just for a weekend and stuff like that, you can do all point of purchase through Xero. It may not be baked into the product, but we have every plugin imaginable for those sort of things. Something we just announced last week, so the timing of this interview is actually really interesting. We just introduced something called a business performance dashboard, and this is simply like the heartbeat of your company. So you could check on a daily basis going into your September advertising to see, what your cash flow is, what your inventory, money in, money out, who owes you what, the status of everything in real time. Because we are built in the cloud, you don't have to do updates, you don't have to things. Your bookkeeper can update things on her end, and it'll automatically update on your side. You can actually be looking at the same thing at the exact same time, and you can, your screen and her screen, she could be in another country, and you'll see the changes in real time because it is a cloud-based accounting platform. So, yeah.
Do I still need my bookkeeper?
It depends how clever you are. Clever probably isn't the best word. We say everybody should have an accountant or a bookkeeper because it just makes tax time better, makes your quarterly reports, your quarterly filings, and your end of year filings obviously much more beneficial. But Xero is really designed to work either on your own or with a trusted advisor, which would be a bookkeeper and accountant. And we always say you should use a bookkeeper and accountant because it just makes the most sense and the fewer amount of errors. But if you're comfortable with your level of accounting ability, it's designed for both.
So if I was to, so because you had said that your main competitors are QuickBooks and who else?
Well, QuickBooks and Intuit, they're the same company. Intuit is the parent company.
There's the parent company. So is it very similar to QuickBooks? It's got to be a little bit different than QuickBooks, or maybe it has some better bells and whistles than QuickBooks. No?
So I say all the time, we're a better product. So it does everything that they do, but, it does it in a better way. So, when I say everything, obviously there's one or two things here and there that don't line up perfectly, but we feel because we know our customers better, we've built this just for small businesses. We've built this to really make life easier. We know that nobody got into, no one got into direct response television like yourself, so you could do accounting. Accounting is just one of those things you have to do to keep your business successful and, keep everything running. So we've created something that actually is as simple as possible to get you back to doing what you really love to do. So, we don't really use this as one of our brand promises, but I'm going to say right now, one of the goals of Xero is to get you back into doing what you really love. Because, if you're working with an accountant, they love accounting and they should. Yeah. This is, what they do for a living. And you should always think, but you don't necessarily have to love accounting, but you do need to make sure that your company is healthy. So that's why we created the business dashboard and things. It's really for people who get it and people who don't get it, and both people can use the system at the same speed and accuracy.
Well, I think when we talk about entrepreneurs that I was listening to you have an interview on Xero Hour with the gal that started doing an Airbnb. I listened to that show.
Shannon Shu.
And then, actually, I wanted to tell you this. I listened to the interview where the guy was talking about how he has the online video for jobs. Right? Do you remember who that is? Where people can they do a video and you load your video up and it's for jobs.
Derek Zito, company called Workin.
Okay, so Saul.
I remember everything. So you're not going to stump me about my stuff.
I'm not trying to stump you.
If you ask me about world history, I may not get it, but you ask me like something that I've been involved in, I know it all.
Well, I have to share this with you because for the past 12 years, I have had the URL called livecoverletter.com, And in 2002, I believe it was, I wanted to start a company because my son was having a hard time getting a job. And I thought, well, what can be the differentiator? What can be a real differentiator that people can use to get a job? With Monster.com and all of this stuff, the resumes are just compiling in and people are just printing them out. And, you end up at the bottom of a stack of 1,000 resumes. So you never have a chance, especially if you're the first one. So I said, well, what could be a differentiator? And I came up with this idea of, well, why don't people just do a live cover letter, I called it, and which would be a video, and they would post that on a site that then would link through their Monster profile or whatever it was at the time. Monster.com was huge, and blah, blah, blah. And nobody could figure out, Saul, nobody I went to could figure out, this 2002, how to do that. And if we did it, Wendi, they said, and you mentioned this, if we did it, then wouldn't that be like, are we doing it because we want to see what people look like before we hire them? Isn't that discriminatory? Can it be, whatever, profiling? All of these things came. Now, this was long ago. I've always held on to the URL because I always thought, it's a genius idea. Obviously, it was a genius idea because now they're doing that, right?
I own the URL wannahire.me. Just in case I ever find myself out of work, I'm going to do something really cool with that URL. But I kind of love your idea too. And now if you want to do that, it's amazing because it would be super simple because the technology has finally caught up to the idea. But, going back to your question, are people going to, judge you based on your appearance or your speech patterns or accent or anything like that?
Right.
It's a sad reality, but, and I read the entire internet every day. So everything I say should take as absolute fact and as true. But I read something recently that said the number one thing you're rated on in your LinkedIn profile is your photo.
Yeah.
And people look and see general attractiveness, what you look like, the type of clothes you wear, but they also look at, were you smart enough to upload a high-res photo? Do you have a photo at all? Because, maybe if you call yourself a digital marketer and you didn't bother putting up a photo for whatever reason, you're probably lying on your profile.
Right.
So much thought has gone into analyzing the photo in your LinkedIn profile. Is it a casual photo? Or are you on a beach? Is it this or that? It's ridiculous how much time is wasted on ridiculous, frivolous things.
I still think it's a really great idea, but when I think about it from a director standpoint, so if I'm doing a commercial and I'm directing a lot of testimonials, which I've done for many years, and I know how to, working with real people, there's a real technique to working with real people. Well, not fake people, but you know what I mean. And so, maybe somebody has the skills and maybe somebody is super qualified. That's where the paper resume comes in, right? Where you're looking at those skills. But the moment you flip on that camera, they turn into a bumbling idiot, And so it's, and people somebody was on, I think I was listening somewhere and she said, well, what you don't see in the Kickstarter video is how many times it took to actually do that take of saying 5 words or whatever. So
a very dear friend of mine had one of the most successful Kickstarters in the first 2 years of the company. She raised, $250,000. This was early days before $500,000 or $1 million were commonplace. And she has a super slick video. I had nothing to do with it, so I'm not taking credit for it. Super slick, beautiful video. Took 77 takes to get, the walking and the talking, and stuff like that. So, it took the better part of 3 days to make a, 2.5, 3 minute video.
Right. Right. So I was just,
I want to throw something out. I don't know how much time we have left. At the very, very end of the show, give me 3 minutes. I'm going to give you the greatest infomercial idea ever. And you can steal it. And if you do it ever, just send me a check for something.
Okay. So, well, you know what? You have actually 3 minutes because we got to get out of here. I get in trouble because I go way over sometimes. And so,
okay, cool.
So you have 3 minutes. So I'll go ahead.
You're a direct TV person. I've walked around with this idea for 5 years now. I've wanted to do it, but I can never get anyone to buy into this idea. As an amazing infomercial idea, I want to replicate like any one of the food products, like the nutritional bullet or any of these,
NutriBullet.
make sandwiches in in a minute, have that woman who's in every infomercial cooking, the the little old lady from Middle America who looks like
Nancy.
everyone's mom,
Or was it-
and when she asks someone from the audience to come up and taste her sandwiches, that's when the CEO of whatever company that you're actually doing the infomercial for comes on, and she says, "So what do you do for a living?" And he just talks for 30 minutes and does the whole pitch for his business and his product while she's making grilled cheeses in the background. And it's like a bait and switch that I think, if done properly, people will like share and talk about and think it's the most clever idea ever.
All right. Well, we would have to limit that to a 2-minute commercial, right? Not
2 minutes.
Not 30 minutes.
That's barely a whole sandwich. I want to do 3 hours.
Oh God! Do you know what? Have you ever even thought about doing one? I mean, those things. You know what it's like to do a 30-minute infomercial, to produce one. It's like half of your life gets taken away from you.
Same as making a movie.
It's basically the same as making usually a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
But Saul, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. If anybody wants more information about me or Zero, please check out Zero.com. It's spelled Xero, or you can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet. Saul Colt, all one word, SAULCOLT.
And you also have 0 Hour, which is on iTunes, your podcast.
Yes. Please check out the 0 Hour. It is maybe the finest hour of marketing and conversation and small business and inspiration on the whole internet. This particular show excluded. Is just check out 0 Hour, XEROHOUR on iTunes. It's available on Stitcher as well as SoundCloud.
Well, and welcome. I had other questions for you, like, why a podcast and blah, blah, blah. But I know you love.
I'm happy to keep talking.
Love doing it. Yeah, I know. I'm happy to keep talking to you, but we can't. So anyway, well, maybe I'll have you back and we can talk about other things some other time.
You should have me back weekly. I barely tipped the surface of stories.
Yeah, well, I know that's the problem is I like to kind of talk and not ask questions.
That's
so,
okay.
So I will have you back, Saul. And
this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of fun too. And I love having you on. I love listening to you, and I'm a big supporter, and you teach me a lot, Saul. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
Okay, then Kurt, you know what it's time for, right? You're going to
Yes, I
beam
do.
me up. Everybody, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Well, it's time to wrap up another great hour of Living Unfiltered here at ubnradio.com. We'd love to hear from you. So if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, or you want to be a guest on our show, you can reach us at livingunfiltered@gmail.com. And since we're right here in the heart of Hollywood at Sunset Gower Studios, that's like saying, have your people call my people.